All right, welcome back to another episode of the Knicks Morning Coffee Recap Show. This is where I give my take on the previous night's game. The Knicks got a much needed win against the New Orleans Pelicans. But before we jump into that, please like, comment, and subscribe. I also would like to apologize. Our normal Monday morning Knicks Morning Coffee Show with my partner Joe Cool will not air until tomorrow. So please have on your notifications so you can see when that drops. All right, last night was a nice, much needed win for us. It was easy work, what it seemed like to be easy work. You know, we put them away, won by practically in that 30-point range. So that was a nice sign for us to see. What I loved about last night was that Jalen Brunson was in total command of the game. He is getting back to that all-star, superstar status that we known from a year ago. And I think it won't be long now before you start hearing MVP chants from the Raptors. Okay, now this tear that Brunson has been on, you know, it's noteworthy that in that Dallas game, and he's had some great games, of course, before then, but even though in that loss to Dallas, it showed that's the game, I think, where he really came back in his total bag of being a point guard. And that's, at the time, too, this is what we needed. And then we head into the Charlotte game. Without his performance, we probably don't win that game, even though we had some other guys step up like Deuce McBride. But Jalen Brunson has been putting on a tear the past week, and it won't go unnoticed, you know, throughout the NBA. Now, last night's game was a total team effort against the New Orleans Pelicans. They were a little bit shorthanded, but again, as we all know, that's not our problem. No one ever felt sorry for us. But Jalen Brunson put on what looked to me like, as some announcers would say, one of the best point guards in the NBA. And he is showing that in the way that he is picking his spots, getting everybody involved, you know, running the floor, running the show, moving pieces around the board. And his leadership out there on the court is just not going unnoticed. Definitely not by me. I love what he's doing. I have to always go back and admit that when we got him, as much as I did want him, I wasn't a believer. And he just changed that in me and a whole lot of other people. But also the help that he had, Deuce McBride, coming back from injury, as if he never left. And his pull-up jumper is deadly. And what him and Payne is doing off the bench, that just leads for a desire to say that when we do find help off the bench, we don't need to touch that. All right, that looks like it's going to be sustainable. And that looks like on the defensive end, they're going to be able to control a little bit of defensive tempo, especially until Precious and Mitch get back there to get some much-needed rim protection. But we have a total team effort thing going on right now with the New York Knicks. And even though Mikal Bridges was struggling, and it was a lot of speculation that he might need to be pulled from the starting lineup, that the Knicks made a mistake giving up 5 future draft picks. Well, all that went out the window for me last night. Again, another 30-point night, you know, back on track. He said his confidence never really wavered, but it was just something in the back of his mind that was bothering him. But he seemed to come out of it last night, and let's just hope that that continues. And that's also a credit to the New York Knicks players for keeping him engaged, keeping him confidence, and keeping him involved in the offense, because we're going to need him. Okay, he's not just here to replace Dante DiVincenzo. He's here to do a whole lot more for us, and I think he knows that. And the adjustment period of a guy who's just used to having the ball on his previous team, and he's working that out, and we sticking by him. Cat didn't have a great game, but he controlled the boards. He's there when we need him. Nobody really can complain about what he's doing. I would have probably liked to see more in these situation type of games where they're short of a big like that, and just let Cat dominate and just let him eat. But again, whatever the game plan is, it seems as though they stuck to it last night, and I believe it was to get Bridges going. You also can't say enough about Josh Hart. Josh Hart is still our Iron Man, you know, with a close second to OG Anunoby. Between the two, they're having steady games. OJ cooled off, you know, the past week, but that's also to be expected. We have just too many guys to rely on one, especially when it's our third or fourth option. But he'll be back. He still does the little things. He's picking off balls in the lane. He's rebounding. You know, just the other night when we were playing Charlotte, he did one move to the basket, and it just gave me that Dr. J feel. Not the high flying, but the way he went to the basket. And those are the type of things that, with this Knicks offense, we're going to be able to do so many more things as the season go on, as everyone, you know, gets to learn the tendencies of everybody else. And again, we're still a work in progress. Still takes time, but we are on a path here to do some very, very special things this season. Now, we was expected, or rather I was expected to hope to see Precious Achua last night. He is listed as day to day. In his eyes, from his comments, he's saying that until he really feels 100% to be explosive the way he feel he needs to play, then that's when he's going to come back. So, we can't argue with that. I know it's just certain things that we want that we just have to wait and see. But I just know that when Precious come back, there are minutes for him, because even when Mikal Bridges was struggling, into some eyes that he was struggling, he still was leading the league in minutes. So at 38 plus minutes a game, Precious will be able to steal some of those minutes, and probably a few minutes of Josh Hart's, just to start him out, getting 10 to 15 a game. And I also like to see him maybe get those minutes starting out at power forward, because I'll be honest, what Jericho Sims is starting to do, I'm starting to like. I love the way he is attacking the boards. That offensive game is just not there right now, but it's just little things that we just have to keep plucking away until we're able to get him comfortable enough to look for his shot. But he is not hurting us. All right. He does not have the certain instinct that Mitchell Robinson has of turning to block a shot. But if you come down the lane in his face, it's swatted out of here. So I want to really, when Precious come back, keep him in the lineup. Some are probably going to call for him to be pulled, but I like to see us with two bigs, Cat and somebody else sometimes, just for the optics and keep us from getting pushed around. And that's not a knock on OG, anybody like that, especially not a knock on our other forwards, but it's just that I think we need to get bigger and stronger down in the post, especially on the defensive end. Now, also, too, I have to give a lot of credit to Coach Tibbs. Tibbs is sticking with something, like he's seeing something that I guess a lot of us are not seeing about his team, because he's practicing with them every day, and everybody's getting their own little opportunity to shine. And that's not something that we can say for a Tibbs team in the past. It's usually the one or two guys dominate the ball and everybody else fill in. We're having a chance that we see through the course of a game that, like other great teams, individuals are getting a chance to show what their skill set is. And I love that about Tibbs, the way he's able to now grow into a different type of an NBA coach. He's not giving up nothing on the defensive end. We see that. But what he's doing on the offensive end is that he's allowing guys to prosper in the best form that they know how. And that's just a great thing to see for the Knicks. Again, we haven't seen that in the past. Another thing that I like that we're doing is the way now that we started the season sharing the ball in an unselfish way that wasn't healthy for the team, because guys were passing up, good shots. Well, like Clyde says, sometimes you're the man that's open. And when you got the ball on the wing and you see you can take your man, then you have to take him. And if something pops up through the course of that move, then you dump it off. But, I think guys are growing because they're looking at their individual skill and they're taking advantage of it. And we're still up in the top echelon in the team assists. So nobody else can't even, mess with us there. Our problem is our defense. We started the season think that we will be one of the top defensive teams in the league. We do have some top wings, but just something's missing. Can't put it all on Mitch, because last year we stayed at the top 4 in defense and Mitch hardly even played. But we're missing rim protection. And I think when Precious and Mitch both come back, that's going to solve so many needs for us on the defensive end. Because not only do we get the rim protection from having Mitch, it's the other things that we get when guys won't even attempt to come down the lane. Because as much as Cat is trying, to be that rim protector, that's not his forte. It's certain little instincts and nuances that if you're not a defensive center, you're just not going to have. And Mitch sees things maybe 2 plays off the ball, and he just knows how to rotate over. So by the time that ball gets there, he knows how to intimidate it, to redirect it, or swat it up out of there. But you see a lot of balls being floated over Towns and Jericho, just like at the last second, it's just rolling over their fingertips because they're not reacting fast enough. And that's something too that you have to be taught. Defense is instinct, but there's certain things you have to be taught. And obviously Mitch was taught that at an early age. And then having Precious back also, who is also a good rotation defender, is going to do wonders for us. So our defense is probably what's keeping us from being, in the top 1 and 2 of this season. What Cleveland is doing, they're starting to cool off a little bit, which also is to be expected. And, Boston's going to be Boston, but, we got to even rise above a little bit more and get back into that 1-2 punch where we're supposed to be. But, the Knicks, they're on a roll. We got a chance the next 3 games. Charlotte, Orlando is our next game Wednesday night. It's going to be a battle only because they're ahead of us in the standings, and we are both 3-0 in the mid-season league play for the Cup. So the winner will have a better record in that sense. And I know it also goes by the amount of points you score and margin of victory. But that'll be a nice test for us too. Early season challenge. It's not the Cup yet, but it's a Cup game. So just that early season challenge of, meeting criteria, that's going to be interesting for us. And I'm not even sure if Paolo is Banchero, if he's even back yet with Orlando. But with or without him, they're on a tear. So I'm looking forward to that tomorrow night. And I just hope that we can, go into Charlotte the following few days and then go into Detroit and get these wins that we are supposed to get and build our team chemistry and camaraderie and just build into something special as time comes on. Now, also, someone has said something to me about not being able to trade a player that you recently got. And from my understanding, too, if you get a max player in free agency in a trade, you can't trade that player for the next year. But I'm actually really not sure that when you get a player in July, I always thought that they were able to be traded in December. And that's just regarding to the Dante DiVincenzo thing. Now, I'm not really sure on that, but I don't think he fits into that category where he can't be traded until the next year. I think Dante fits into the one where I believe in December he could be traded, if not by February. Now, again, we're not fighting to get Dante. There's not a whole lot we don't want to give up. But if we did want to give up, Deuce and Precious numbers do fit his. So also when someone said that there's just no way money-wise, well, there's a way. It's just a matter of what would you be willing to give up and what would the other team be willing to take. But our team is fine the way it is. We have some guys coming back. And then maybe by February, we can take a look and see what we might need going down the stretch. But for right now, it was just an entertaining story of Dante DiVincenzo. And, no need to insult any of our current players. But if a guy like that is available and he does fit, it just don't hurt to look into it. And that's, I think, what people was talking about. I don't think nobody was talking about anything about gutting our team. I just think the interesting fact that if a guy could be available and you could bring him back home, then why not? All right. So, again, sometime tomorrow, our regularly Monday scheduled Nick Morning Coffee show will drop. Please check that out. Please tell me what you think about our road trip that we just came off. It was 5 games in 11 nights. Normally that would be considered brutal, but I think because we have guys on our team who came from the West Coast, it just made the transition a little bit smoother. All right, but until next time, peace.